Hello and welcome to Heroes and Villains of the Past. This week we are discussing whether General Haig was the hero or butcher of the Somme. To come up with the answer, we have a variety of important figures for the Great War. And first to talk to us tonight is the man himself, General Haig. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, what do you say about these thoughts you were the butcher at the Battle of the Somme?
Well, I think they're completely rubbish. Although some people say that I was the reason so many people died, it's not my fault. If you look at the Battle of the Somme in a wider perspective, and at the end of everything, the Battle of the Somme was one of the greatest victories of the war.
On the note of the losses, it is said that 60,000 men died or were injured on the very first day of the battle. Now, some people started to say that your methods were old-fashioned, and that you were not prepared for a war where machine guns featured so heavily. Are these rumours true?
Well, of course not. When I fought battles and wars in the past, the methods that I used proved to be very successful. Otherwise, I would not still be here. Although the times have moved on, my methods have too. I fully believe that the way I ran things turned the men from amateurs to soldiers.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I would now like to move on to Captain Stewart. Thank you for joining us today. Now, Captain, what was your impression of General Haig during the war at the time of the Battle of the Somme?
Well, at the start of the war, General Haig was probably the best man that the British Expeditionary Force could have wished for. He had fought many wars previously and won many victories. We all thought that he was great. However, after the Battle of the Somme, our thoughts had changed completely.
In what way?
As I'm sure that you've heard, almost 60,000 British men died or were injured on that first day, and it led us to start thinking that Haig had not moved along with the times, and that he was just pushing toy soldiers along on the table without actually thinking about what would happen in the battle. He was also never very good at communicating. He might have come up with brilliant plans, but when the orders came through to us, it just seemed as though he was an incompetent man who could not think of the bigger picture and just used the same plan over and over again.
Thank you for your opinion, Captain. From General Richardson, a good friend and companion to General Haig.
Yes. Good day to you.
So, General, having known him for many years, do you think that Haig was the butcher of the Somme?
Oh, I think that anyone who is calling him that is a fool and a liar. The people who say that he was the reason of all the men who died do not know what they are talking about. They have never been in the position that Haig was in. They have never had the curse of having power over life and death of almost every man in the army.
Why do you say it was a curse?
Well, because it was. It was a hardship for Haig, knowing the war could only be won with death. The people who are calling him a butcher never saw him despair when he knew that no matter what plans he came up with, people would die. And because the plans he made for the Battle of the Somme was so successful, it did mean that more men had to lose their lives.
Well, thank you very much for sharing with us. Now, we move on to Private Benjamin, one of the men who survived the Battle of the Somme and who will now be able to tell firsthand what Haig did during the battle. Was it really as bad as people saying that it was?
It was, I'm afraid. The people of the world have been debating about whether Haig was the man who saved the lives of the Somme or the man who destroyed them. I'm here to tell you that there is no question. If another man had been leading the troops, then I am certain fewer lives would have been lost.
Why do you say that?
Well, because the way the plans were carried out were perfect. All of the men did what they were told according to the plans. It was the plans themselves that were the problems. They were the basic plans that were used again and again, and if anyone did not follow them properly, he would not correct them. Haig was lost in his past victories when wars were fought differently, and he's blind to the present. He just wanted to receive more medals and wanted to prove that he could kill more Germans than the Germans could kill British. There is no doubt that the losses of the Battle of the Somme was his fault.
Thank you very much, Private. I'm now going to talk to Jenny Clark, the mother of one of the soldiers who died in the Battle of the Somme. So, Jenny, what do you think of General Haig?
It's his fault that my son was lost on those foreign lands and can now never come home again. He made the young boys fight when they had not received the proper training. He lied to them to make them join up. He promised them a great war of action when all they got was death, mud, and loads of trenches.
And how do you think he managed the Battle of the Somme? Did he lead it well?
I would have been happier knowing that my son was being led by another man. He had no regard for the lives of the young men. As long as he had plenty of medals in his knighthood, he was happy. He was an insensitive, unfeeling man that was never affected by the loss of any of the men.
Well, thank you very much.
Hero. Butcher. Butcher.
Hero.
Butcher.